Welcome back for another exciting market update. While we go through this, I'm going to share some interesting thoughts about office spaces and what's going on in the economy, in the world, politics, just so you have an idea of how everything comes together. This will be really brief. I'm not going to go into too much details. Try to keep it simple here. But I'm going to go over what happened in the entire LA County for the month of July year over year. So let's get started right now. So with office space, we're looking at $41.76 per square foot per year with an annual rent growth of 1.3%, cap rate at 5.4%, and a vacancy factor still at a whopping 13.8%. Sale price per square foot at $469. And what's going on in the office sector is this return to the office just isn't really happening the way all the talking heads on TV talked about that it would. In fact, we're seeing, as you're probably seeing on the news, tech companies, they're starting to put some pressure on their employees. They're starting to see requiring more performance. And another thing that you're seeing all across the board is a lot of these landlords, owners, they're not giving any ground on the rent. Not so much. You would think, okay, if there's a lot of vacancies, they're going to go ahead and budge on the price. But they're not. So that's why office sector, you're still seeing such a high vacancy factor right here. It's just a matter of who's going to blink first, whether the landlords or the tenants are going to blink first and see who's going to adjust the price. Next, we're going to look at industrial, $17.26 per square foot per year. Annual rent growth of 13.4%. Cap rate at 4.2%. Vacancy factor at 2%. And a sale price per square foot at $323. Next, we're going to look at retail, $35.03 per square foot per year for rent. Annual rent growth of 3.7%, 5.2% for cap rate, and then a vacancy factor of 5.1%, and a sale price per square foot at $421. Last but not least, multifamily, we're looking at on average $2,183 for rent per door, and an annual rent growth of 6.2%, and a cap rate of 3.9%, and a vacancy factor at 3.4%. Now this is a little bit interesting, the vacancy factor. Evictions should start processing and going through the courts. And a lot of landlords, if you're seeing on the market, they're continuing to raise rents. So we're going to have to see what happens. Are tenants going to continue leasing, or are they going to move somewhere else, get out of state? So it's going to be interesting continuing to see this vacancy factor over here, especially for multifamily. And then on average for sale, around $422,000 per door on average. Now, as I'm creating this video message to you, what happened a few days ago was the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, visited Taiwan. And that was such a big deal for China. And I'm reading the news, there's all this talk about anti-China and this, keeping them away, bringing manufacturing back home. And that would have a monumental impact on everything you see over here, right? If they start banning Chinese entities from buying businesses, buying property, you're going to see an impact on all the numbers here for sure. And even manufacturing, especially for industrial, to bring all that back home, it would be detrimental to a lot of companies. That would affect a lot of retail, right? If products cost more, they're not able to sell as much. I think that would affect a lot of retail space, and even offices. A lot of companies would go under if they were to stop producing in manufacturing in China. And of course, this isn't going to happen overnight. It's going to take some time, but you want to look for conditions and signs that this is happening, and some clues if it's going to happen very soon. And one thing I would say you can look to see for signs that it is happening is the U.S. government would implement measures to soften the blow and the impact of essentially, I call it banning China, right? They're banning manufacturing, or putting tariffs or anything to make it more difficult for China to do business with the US. You're going to see at least the government trying to do something to help companies in the US to soften the impact of that. So I bring that up because this is very recent, it's on the news. It seems like 2022, it's going to be the year of surprises. So stay tuned, let's see what happens next for the rest of the year.